High COMT. This is what I call the warrior gene. This is known as CC-VAL in your genetic testing. High metabolism of dopamine. What happens? This is the people who are dopamine deprived and low estrogen. What happens when you don't have enough dopamine? You can have, this is what I call the ADHD gene. You don't have enough dopamine in the frontal lobe. Explained a little bit about that earlier about the COMT. You can't remember things. You feel depressed, you don't have enough dopamine. You get apathetic because you don't have enough dopamine. You can have major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, ADHD, impulse control disorder, gambling, binge eating disorder, chasing that dopamine, along with substance abuse, cocaine, opiates, alcohol. So these people will do anything to try to get that dopamine, which I think this is probably in theory one of the reasons why people cut, because they just want to feel good. They want to release that dopamine. And so I really believe naltrexone may not always be the choice for cutters because we want to block that dopamine. So we want to prevent that. I think that'll make them worse. But probably with people who run high in dopamine, I think that's a good one to do because they're already running high in dopamine. You want to cut that down, cut down anxiety. So there are good things about these people. They function great in chaos. These are the people that work in a fast-paced environment. Stockbrokers, people in the ER, EMTs, police officers. It's a good thing. And you would be surprised how many police officers I have that come in because they have ADHD. And I later on find out, oh my gosh, they have the warrior gene. That's why they go out there and, they take those risks. Sometimes it gets them into trouble. They multitask really good. Why? Because they can't sit still. They got to go from one thing to another. However, when things are going array in their life, too much stress, that low dopamine is going to cause problems. So also, it's a three-prong approach, totally opposite. High protein diet, keto, Atkins, berries, because of the phenols. Exercise, because we want to increase dopamine. Vigorous exercise, cardio, interval training, anything to get that dopamine up. Patients that don't want to take psychiatric medicines or they can't tolerate psychiatric medicines, even the normal supplements that I give them. I said, well, you're going to have to do this approach. This is your prescription. You got to go out and run 30 minutes a day in order to increase that dopamine as natural as we can. And the supplements, tyrosine. You understand now why I give tyrosine. It makes dopamine norepinephrine. The phenols are what we call dopamine ingredients. You find it in green tea, curcumin, quercetin, just general amino acids. I would like to say, though, that patients that come to me for weight loss, I get excited when I see that they're high COMT because I can give them everything, stimulants, anything that increases dopamine. And as you know, in general, a high protein diet, vigorous exercise is the way to lose weight. Knowing this about a patient who may want to come to me for weight loss, I have to explain to them, this is the reason why you're struggling with weight loss, but this is going to be an advantage to you that, as we know, keto diet, vigorous exercise, especially cardio and interval training, are a great way to lose weight. What are the psychiatric meds for high COMT? Anything that increases dopamine, Wellbutrin, SSRIs, TCAs, MAOI stimulants. This is why I call the high COMT the ADHD gene. Normally, Adderall is better, but there's another gene that can play a part in this, why you would go with the methylphenidate base or the amphetamine base. Let's talk about dopamine blockers, antipsychotics, very bad. One of my NPs had a patient come in. They said, I feel bad. Nothing works. And they found out she's high COMT and she was on Abilify. Not good. The minute she took off that Abilify, the patient woke up, perked up. Depression was gone. Beta blockers, all these things tamper effects of dopamine, and alpha agonists. Those are things that tamper dopamine in the brain.